Hello, good evening. Welcome to the programme. Eagerly awaited as ever. This is our final programme of 2018. We've got a cracking Christmas cracker, really, of a lineup for you to take us towards the end of this year and into a new one. What a midfield we've got in the studio this evening. It's a pity that Mark Duffy couldn't hang around from a week ago, because he'd have teamed up very nicely indeed with Paul Coutts. He's Sheffield United teammate, of course. Welcome back, Paul. Your second visit to the studio. And Danny Wilson, the former everything, the former Sheffield Wednesday midfielder, former Sheffield Wednesday manager, former Sheffield United manager. And if we carried on with that list, we wouldn't have time for any conversation, Danny, would we?
Exactly. Hi, Al.
Your second visit as well. Good to see you. Good to see you both. And in fact, Barnsley is a big reason for you being here tonight, because quite recently, a great film came out, epic production, chronicling Barnsley's promotion to the Premier League in 1997 with your good self as manager. We will talk about that. We'll have some clips from the film on the show as well. Paul, something you two could have in common eventually is management, because a little birdie tells me that you're starting on that course.
Yeah, a little bit behind where Danny's got to. Yeah, we've started doing our coaching badges at training ground. A few of the boys, me, Bill, Duffs is one of them, and Flecky's doing it as well. So just starting out, really. Yeah, see what it takes us.
You're only about 1,000 games behind him. How many? 1,000 and several others. A member of the 1,000 game club here. So many players, Danny, in one club and one dressing room, as Paul just said, at Sheffield United, are looking to that. Does that tell you about one of the strengths that Chris Wilder has accumulated there, or has gathered around him there at Sheffield United, the mentality of people like that?
Well, of course, I mean, they want to gain the knowledge, and I think the opportunity nowadays is far greater than it was when we started. You know, I think the League Managers Association, if you like, the FIPA, the coaches as well. You've got all the PFA. You know, got areas where you can go and approach and start to prepare at Paul's age now. You know, even younger if you want to be. And I have to say, there's nothing that prepares you for getting on the first touchline, but you can get a lot of background work done in these informative years, and I think it's perfect timing for Paul. He's got many years in front of him yet to play, but if you can combine them both, you know, it's a terrific start.
There's plenty of thinking characters as well as leaders in that dressing room at Sheffield United. I think it's patently obvious when you see them play as well. I know you've been impressed with what you've seen of them.
Well, I think you've got a good blend of players there as well. You've got the experienced ones, you've got the ones, you know, that's played many games like Paul has as well. You know, and they're a great help for managers, you know, because sometimes you're not repeating yourself all the time. The players get it. You know, you ask them to do one or two things once or twice, and that's it. You're not constantly working on one thing all the time and neglecting other things that need working on, because the lads get it straight away. And when you've got an intelligence like that within your club, certainly within your team, it's a big help for the manager.
People have talked about as well about the quality of football at Bramwell, and I know that you'll feel it was a joy to play in this style of football.
Yeah, we've been going well. I think there's been, you know, a little drop off in the points picked up lately, but the performance has been good. A little bit patchy for the manager's liking, I think. We need to be a little bit more consistent, but obviously I'm trying to work my way back into the side, and you know, it's been tough, and there's been no real complaints from me the way they've gone about it, performance-wise and points, you know, still right up there. So just got to be patient and try to wait for my chance to get back in amongst it. Yeah,
on your previous visit here, it was when you were on your way back, I think last summer, and you know, that's winning one battle, being fit.
Yeah.
Oliver Norwood is signed, and blimey, virtually undroppable. Before I ask you about Oliver Norwood, Danny, your observations on him as a midfield player?
But Oliver, I mean, literally, I've seen Oliver play many times for Northern Ireland as well. You know, I've been over there to watch him recently in qualifying games, and he's been the standout for them. But I have to say, when you're in a position that Sheffield United are at this moment in time and want to be challenging for the Premiership, you need a quality squad. You can't carry 12 or 13 players and hope they'll carry through the season. You need your 22-man squad. You need your 18-man squad in particular. And I was saying to Paul before about it, and he agrees as well. And it's the 11 who play are not really a main problem. It's the boys who don't play. and you're only as good as the lads who are not in the team. Because if you've got a good squad together and they're how can I say, they back up everything the first team do, take their opportunities when they come in, because they will be needed throughout the season, there's no doubt about it. That's where your success will come from. And if you can keep the boys happy that are not actually starting the games, not on a regular basis, but you know, maybe they've had a good game and left out next game for whatever reason. Keeping those boys happy is very important, and Chris seems to be doing it very, very well.
Is he keeping you happy?
Him happy?
Is he keeping you happy?
I think every player's happy when they're playing, aren't they? But no, I've had no complaints. You know, the way the boys have played, I can't be knocking on his door and asking why I'm not playing. We're near the top of the division, performing well, so I've just, you know, got to be patient and bide my time. And you know, obviously over this next little period, there's going to be probably some changes to the side playing so quickly. So you know, it's about when you get your chance, make sure you're ready and make sure you take it. Yeah,
8 appearances into your comeback. So the opposite, and also as well, a player in your position, because Oliver Norwood plays a similar role to you, doesn't he?
He does,
as you will have noticed.
Yeah, he plays it pretty well, to be fair to him.
Yeah.
No, he's done great, Ollie, to be fair, since he's come in. He's been great.
And the question's always asked, but you never know until it actually happens, whether the two of you could play in the same midfield.
Well, I'm sure we could, yeah. No, it's a decision for the manager, isn't it, at the end of the day? But I like playing with him in training. I've played bits of games with him, and he's a good player and he's easy to play with.
One or other of you would have to change slightly.
Yeah, probably. Maybe one slightly higher up, or you know, maybe a bit more rotation or something. But we do play a similar role, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
there's always a room for good players in your team. You always find room.
Yeah.
Always.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, they always found room for you, didn't they, at Sheffield Wednesday, and that great team that people remember. And we're going to Danny, of course, the only man to have managed both Sheffield clubs. I know you're quite proud of that. Yeah. Wednesday and United. And people refer to the football played now by Chris Wilder's Sheffield United is the best since the Curry-Woodward era. Although I think that's possibly slightly harsh on you, the season that you took United to a playoff final. I think some of the stuff that season was pretty fantastic as well, as you look back on it.
It was. I mean, I think, you know, you look at the team that we had at our disposal then, you know, maybe possibly not as good as what they have now. But again, I think we've done what Chris is doing as well, getting that dressing room right. And then the players just play for each other. You know, it was a joy to manage them. You could put them out on the pitch at any given time with minimal information, but they could sort it out themselves. You know, particularly the senior ones. And yeah, we were very unfortunate. We know it's all history now. We know, but there was some great football at the time. Yeah, I really enjoyed watching it myself, and even though I was involved with it. Yeah,
it's just a really bittersweet, well, a bitter ending to it, which nobody deserved it to end that way. Other former clubs, Chesterfield. I mean, crikey, you managed 8, I think, including the 2 Sheffields, Barnsley twice. We're going to come to Barnsley in a moment. We're going to show you clips from the film, Daydream Believers film. You may have read or seen something about it. I do recommend you buy a copy of the DVD, and I'll be providing details how to do that a bit later on. You played for 9 clubs, including Chesterfield, Brighton, Luton, Sheffield Wednesday and Barnsley. There was a club on loan in there somewhere as well. Yeah. So, and over 1,000 games as a manager. It gives you a perspective on both Sheffield clubs. So we talked a bit about Blades, and we'll come back to what you think of their promotion prospects later. Sheffield Wednesday, a real tale of woe at the moment. I know that you'll be, as an exile, Agent Wilson will be quite sad about that.
I've been called worse than that, I promise you. But yeah, I think it's. I mean, it's just quite topical now, isn't it? You know, coming in after the meeting last night and hearing the news like you heard the news, you know, that the club's up for sale. It's a tough time for this moment in time. I think opinion's been split with the fans. You know, there's some will applaud that he wants to quit the club and, you know, and try to bring something new in. Others will say, well, you know, he's put a lot of money into this football club, 70 million plus, I believe, if that's right. But so have the fans as well, you know, and they themselves, you know, they want some entertainment, you know, and they don't feel they're getting it at the moment in time. So it's really a split camp, you know, and I think you can wait up both sides. Will he be sold? I don't know. I had a little bit of a feeling that, you know, when you're under pressure, as you are, and it was last night, under pressure in the meeting, sometimes you say things you possibly don't really mean at heart. If a few results go their way in the next, you know, 6, 7, 8 games, you know, he may mellow a little bit and just say, you know, I maybe spoke a little bit, you know, too soon. Or the vice versa, he might say a couple of bad results and he said, you know, that is it, you know, I've decided. But it's a difficult one at the moment in time. I think there was a lot of emotion from what I believe in the room last night, and things are said sometimes under pressure.
That is entirely, without knowing for sure, my reading of it as well. For what it's worth, his revelation that the club's up for sale was very late in the evening, apparently, almost right at the end. Right. So was it pre-planned? Or was it spur of the moment? I tend to believe it was the latter. Spur of the moment, heat of the moment. Yeah. It had a lot of flack, a lot of criticism. And like you, I think if things were to turn around, yeah, I think he'd have second thoughts, Mr. Shansiri, about that. Because then he'd start enjoying it again.
Well, that's it. I mean, you have to understand as well, if you've not been in that position before, in a heated room, I've been in many times, you know, in those situations, and you have to be quite measured in what your responses are at a certain time, because it can be taken out of context completely. You can say something...
What, by journalists?
Well, yes, but you can't really print tonality, can you? No. You know, and so you say something with a bit of a joke in it, or you say something light-hearted, you know, you say something, but you cannot write tonality down on a piece of paper. So it sounds totally different when you read it. Yes. And I think, you know, if you're not how can I say, in those areas often, you can be put under a lot of pressure. If you don't know how to talk to press, if you don't know how to talk to a crowd or an audience, particularly fans, you can slip up. And maybe the pressure last night may have been intense. You know, maybe it's a bit too intense for Mr. Chancery, and he may have just come out with that one. I don't know. And like yourself, it could have been pre-planned. I don't know, but it certainly sounded like it wasn't.
It sounded to me like it wasn't. And this guy, for all his critics, has done an awful lot of good in many respects. He's put loads of money in. He's clearly passionate. Yeah. His heart is in it. He's totally committed. Yeah. For me, and he will know this criticism personally because I've written it and I've said it, you know, face to face to the right people. Yeah. He's needed football expertise driving the club rather than himself coming in from the... None of us would have a hope in hell of taking over his family's tuna business and making decisions about which oceans to fish and which vessels to take out, would we?
No, we wouldn't.
We just wouldn't.
And I agree with you, Alan. I think sometimes, you know, you can't be too strong-willed or pig-headed, whatever you call it, you know, have your own ego that you can't ask for help. And I think sometimes it's a great relief to delegate, you know, in some areas to people that do know, you know, that situation better possibly than he does. And I have to agree with yourself. I think there comes a time sometimes when you've just got to, you know, lean on somebody and just say, come on, can you give me a hand here? There's nothing to be ashamed of in that respect. No. You know, in fact it shows all the courage to do that. Quite the opposite. And I think, you know, there's people out there that could help him. You know, if we've got loads of people that would come, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. They're passionate about Sheffield Wednesday or whoever it may be, or completely away from the club and have a completely clear mind of the situation. You know,
there are experienced ex-managers. We've got one here that could help. There's Howard Wilkinson, who sits in the director's box every home match, with a great deal of knowledge to tap into. Yeah,
exactly, and going a little bit further down the line there as well. I mean, with Joss, I mean, the people are understandably upset with the results. The manager will get in the neck, as they always do. But he may need the same. You know, you may have two people that are looking around for a bit of help and not getting it from either one of each other because you don't know the answers really. You know, not everybody's got the answers, we know. Yeah. But sometimes it's good to talk things through. And I think maybe even Joss himself may need that little bit of a sidekick, if you like, or a buffer. That can help him.
He must be feeling a bit isolated. Yeah. Certainly the opposition from the fans has been almost total, whereas I feel that he has been the focus of the frustration about everything, you know, which has distorted the bad run that they've been on, you know, and he's become almost like a whipping boy for everything at the football club, which I think is a bit unfair.
Well, yes, of course it is, and we've all been there, you know, but you do understand it because that's possibly the only place they can vent their frustrations is at a match. who they've entered at, really, you know, it's on the touchline, because if you go a goal down, 2 goals down at home, you know, you're going to get all sort of criticism. You've not picked the right team, you've not done the substitutions right, you've delayed it, whatever excuse it could be, and you're there and you have to take it, you know, and you fully understand it. Whether it's fair or not, that's different, but it's understandable.
It must be quite hurtful. We'll come back to that in part 2. We're coming towards the end of part 1. Just briefly, we'll see a clip of the Barnsley film in a minute. Paul, still in the top 6. OK, the most recent game, West Brom, game of 2 halves. Great in the first half, fell away in the second. I know the manager wasn't happy with that. Am I right there?
Yeah. Can't repeat anything that was said after that game, I don't think.
OK, but I did ask him what his reaction was. He just said it was honest.
Yeah, it was. No, we were disappointed. We probably should have been out of sight after half an hour. And, you know, one mistake against a good side like that invites them back into the game, and they grew. And after half time, we underperformed, and you get punished. So, you know, you take it on the chin and move on. We've got an opportunity on Saturday away at Ipswich to put it right.
Absolutely, and it was rare for you to fall away to the extent that you did in that second half against West Brom. I think it's what really needled him. You're almost competitive from minute 1 to minute 90 normally, but West Brom were in total control towards the end of that, which was quite strange, quite unusual.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest disappointment. We had a debrief on Monday, and that was the main talking point, really, that we didn't really go out with a fight. We sort of went out with a bit of a whimper, and it's not us, it's not what the manager's about, it's not what the changing room's about, and it's definitely not what the fans are about. So we didn't feel like we really represented the club very well second half. So it was disappointing, but you know, we've got a chance to put it right, and we've got a busy schedule coming up.
Okay. Well, there's going to be plenty more on Blades and Owls in part 2, and on Barnsley as well in part 2. We've got Jan Åge Fjørtoft talking about his part in the Barnsley fairy tale, of course well known to Sheffield United fans as well. But right now, against the background of what was a really turbulent time for Barnsley, a traumatic time, so many people losing their jobs amid the miners' strike, somehow the football club galvanised the community, and you know, somehow from the lowest point, one of the lowest points in the town's history, you get one of the highest points thanks to the game of football, hence the film.
Football can change the world. I think sport can change the world.
Oh yes, Redford!
Hope started to snowball into belief.
And you go down as heroes, history makers.
Let was spent. Bang.
He'll turn, if he gets the shot in, he'll score!
Hughes clean.
Clint Marcel! Goes for the glory, and gets it!
Top flight football finally arrived at Oakwell this afternoon.
Oh yes! The captain has given them the lead.
You know, nobody likes to get hammered.
Was it 7? I was 7. I forgot blooming numbers there.
And I think, and I'm shouting what you're doing, and he's going, I'm going to let him kill him.
They've given me every memory I could ever dream of.
You will die, watch your back. I'm going to stab you. And it's something that this town will never forget.
The unforgettable promotion season of 1996-97, and of course also the equally unforgettable Premier League season that followed it, Danny. 30 seconds to the break. We'll talk more in part 2. Unforgettable times.
It was just unbelievable, you know. And Daydream Believers is a fantastic title for the film, because that's all it was. It was just a dream to everybody. I never thought it would be fulfilled.
I don't think most fans have woken up from that dream yet, because you still ask yourself, did that really happen? It's almost before you were born, Paul. So I can't bring you in onto this conversation, but there will be more Blades, there will be more Owls, Chesterfield as well to discuss, and Barnsley in part 2 in 5. Do we join?